Gersonzero here. Okay, so we're gonna be talking about E3. It's that time of the year where, you know, major publishers and developers come together to showcase their upcoming projects for the next year or two, right? And I made a list. I'm only going to be talking about Microsoft and Sony's because I skipped Ubisoft. I decided to keep tabs on it online, and it wasn't that good. So, as expected, they got me a couple times. They got me like 3-4 years in a row. I'm not watching it anymore. I'm glad. I don't think Konami has one. I'm glad they don't have one. That was probably the most entertaining one ever, but a couple of years back, I think it was like 09 or I think it was like 09 to 2010. I don't think it was 2011. But they had one of the most entertaining, but not in a good way. And I think Square Enix has one. I'm going to watch Square Enix because I want to see Kingdom Hearts. And possibly Final Fantasy VII. And maybe some, you know, they'll probably show some other RPG revivals, right? Where, if I'm lucky, they'll probably bring back Saga Frontier. But anyway, I'm getting sidetracked here because it's going to be a long video. So, I decided to talk about Microsoft and Sony in this video because I didn't want to make separate videos. So, prepare for a long one. Don't worry. Sonic's right here trying to speed things up. And yes, my Elmo shirt, you know, I wore it in one of my previous videos, and I washed it again, okay? So don't worry about that. It's not dirty. It doesn't stink. So we're going to get right into Microsoft. So, just a heads up, I'm going to run down everything. I don't know if this is in chronological order. I just wrote things down. So they started it off with showing the Xbox One Slim. Now, the first thing I thought of was like, this is my jumping on point. I'm going to get the Xbox One because I got to get that scale bound. And I'll talk about why I'm not getting the Xbox One Slim. Alright? So they showed that. Looked really nice. Beautiful. My personal favorite Xbox 360, which I preferred over the PlayStation 3, by the way. The Xbox 360. I still think is one of the best consoles released in a while. You know, I still hold, you know, the PlayStation 1, PlayStation 2, Dreamcast, GBA, DS. I still think they're better consoles. But the Xbox 360 I have a lot of fond memories of. So even towards the end, okay? Still believe Xbox Live Arcade destroys PSN and whatever Xbox Live does now, okay? Some games there that they really need to re-release. So, you know, I was like, wow, man, I really love this white console. It looks way better than that black crap that looks just like the PlayStation 4, man. Come on. I hated the Xbox 360 Elite, the white one. It was so ugly. Then they showed Gears of War 4. And I'm going to tell you this right now. Gears of War 4 looks beautiful. Now, I don't know if that was the Xbox One footage or the Windows 10 footage they were showing. I'm a believer that it was just the Xbox One version, and the physics were unbelievable, but I still think that Gears of War 3 was one of the best looking games of last generation. Some of the stuff that they did in that game technically blew my mind, okay? That game was beautiful. I wasn't really impressed when I saw the multiplayer, but it was a beta, a true beta, because my friend Angel Nexus, as you remember him, anyone who does, rest in peace, YouTube channel, Angel Nexus, rest in peace, rest in peace. So, he showed me some screenshots of how it looked in the beta, and then they showed up-to-date graphics on how it's going to look near release. Like, I don't know if they're going to do another beta, but it looked way better. But, I mean, it's Gears of War, it can't be bad. Well, Judgment was pretty bad, but those are the Bulletstorm guys, so I can see why, even though Bulletstorm was great. Then they showed, now this is where it's not in any particular order, Sea of Thieves looked cool. You ready to hear this? It looks better than No Man's Land. Because No Man's Land was such, it's not out yet, it was delayed till August, but they said it don't even have multiplayer co-op, man. Come on, get out of here, man. Scalebound. Ugh. I'm gonna tell you this right now. Scalebound is the reason to own either an Xbox One or a gaming PC with Windows 10 booted up on it, because that game looks unbelievable. I'll say this. I haven't been impressed with an action game in the style of Scalebound or Bayonetta or Devil May Cry since the very first Bayonetta game. Now, there's some good games. Like, I personally enjoyed DMC. DMC, I thought it was a pretty solid game. It wasn't the greatest in the franchise. I still think Devil May Cry 3 was better. I think it was better than Devil May Cry 4 in terms of the story and the environments. Weapons, not so much. Combos, not so much. Combat, not so much. But I still think that the story was better. The environments were better. The bosses, Devil May Cry 4 bosses were pretty cool. But, you know, Bayonetta 1 really stuck out to me. That was actually the last one that I played that just blew my mind. Now, I own Bayonetta 2, but I still haven't played it. I played like a stage and I said, I'm gonna get back to it tomorrow. And then I went back to it. And I just feel like I'm not gonna play the game. I feel like I need to show a little bit more respect and not play it in such short bursts, like once every few months. I'm just gonna one day sit down and play it. I do that sometimes. I beat Final Fantasy Type 0 HD. What a pile of garbage. Oh my god. I sat through that game. I started skipping cutscenes, bro. It was like that. It was... If you ask me, what's the story for Type 0 HD? I'll say, I have no idea. But I'll tell you that I was rocking King. Wait, is that his name? King, the guy with the guns? Whatever, I'm going on a tangent again. Anyway. But Scalebound. Someone on Twitter told me that they felt like the pacing of the game was destroyed by the bow and arrows that this guy was using. And I was saying, well, I'm pretty sure it's gonna have a pretty good array of a wide array of different weapons that you can use other than the bow and arrow. If you see the demo I'm talking about, where he's fighting like the big boss that Platinum Games, they were boasting that it was the largest boss they've ever worked on. It's a big statement, especially for Platinum Games. Record looks very promising. Now, I was watching Kinda Funny Games, and my homeboy Tim Geddes was talking about that. It had like a Mega Man X vibe to it because of the style of the game and the platforming that it has, and it has like this mechanic feel because you have these allies with you that are mechanized. And I'm like, okay, yeah, I can see that. But I thought it was supposed to be like a Metroidvania game. I don't know if they're still gonna keep that. I can see it being like a Metroidvania game light because it's probably gonna be like Lords of Shadow. If you play Lords of Shadow, it goes by stages. Lords of Shadow 2 was like a wannabe Symphony of the Night. I don't think it's gonna be in that style. I think if anything, it'll probably be more like I'm a believer that it's gonna be in stages. But there's also that chance that it might be like God of War 3 where everything kind of connects. I think that's what they probably mean, but we'll see. Then they showed this horrendous demo to Final Fantasy 15. Look, I'm getting Final Fantasy 15 day one, okay? But I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm a little worried because that demo, it proved two things that really worries me about that game. The combat is a big problem for me, okay? They keep advertising it as an action game and that, you can, move around and do whatever you want, but Kingdom Hearts still looks like it has more freedom than that game. And I really don't like how it just has too much animation. Like when he attacks, right? He's doing too much motion before the actual hit happens. So it gives like this weird floaty feel where instead of you pushing the button, which you can do to do your combos, you can just hold the button like you can with Type 0 HD. Type 0 HD, you hold the button down and you just keep attacking over and over again. It's almost in the same vein as, say, Dragon Age, where you attack, or any PC RPG for that matter, like you initiate the attack and they just continuously attack until it's over. Dragon Age did that on the 360. I don't know if Inquisition does that because I have it, but I didn't really play it too much. You know, like I just don't like the way they do the magic, man. Like so far, I feel like we've seen all of the most powerful Blizzard spells, like Blizzara or Blizzaga or Blizzard 4 or Blizzard 3. I feel like we've seen it when he froze the Titan. I'm pretty sure that's the highest level that you can go. And they don't have, I don't think they know magic. It looks like they're throwing these orbs, like these items that you get, because I remember in the demo, the Platinum demo, you have a supply of fire that you can throw, which, I mean, I guess is okay, because it's more of a realistic take on Final Fantasy, right? Which is kind of cool, right? But I don't know, like, I'm sure it's gonna be at the very least a good game. Alright, I'm pretty sure it is, but I'm a little worried, I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm concerned that there's not gonna be actual towns that you can go into. I feel like the towns are gonna be part of the world map. You know, I feel like there's no dungeons in the game. I don't know, we'll see. I'm definitely getting it day one though. And I'm gonna be doing a review, by the way, so don't worry about that. 100% I'm doing a review. Okay, so then they showed Dead Rising 4, and I'm not gonna lie, the only Dead Rising that I've played to the very end, and I have 100% completed the game, is the first one. That was the best one that I've played. 2 was good, but it had a different feel. You can tell that it was more of a Western, it had a Western feel to it. Keiji Inafune was still overseeing it loosely, you know, but it was a Western audience. I don't know if they were from the US or they were Canadian developers. Whatever the case, they weren't Japanese, okay? So, but I thought the first one was good. 3, my friend Angel Nexus said that he likes 3 more because it removes a lot of the stuff that really made the first 2 games annoying. Part 1 was a difficult game, alright? And you know what? I think that's part of the charm. But I can see how it can be a turn off to some. Some people just didn't even beat the game. For some, if they had the demo was like an hour long. If you played the demo for Dead Rising, the first one, when the 360 was out, that demo was essentially the whole game, right? Like, it was actually a very impressive demo. This one brings back Frank West. And I like Frank West, but my concern is that I saw the vehicles and I'm like, okay, I mean, it looks like 3. You know, it looks better than 3, but I don't know. We'll see. It'll probably be a good game though, because again, 3 I heard was pretty solid. Then they showed Forza and Horizon 3, not interested. Then they showed Halo Wars 2, which I was a huge fan of the first one. I tried playing on a Legendary and I got destroyed in that game. Like, it was very difficult. Like, the parts that really got me were the Scarab scenes when you're trying to get past the Scarab, and it's just like, it really pissed me off. But Halo Wars was really good. I remember I bought Halo Wars, and I also got Ninja Blade the same day, and I was playing them back and forth. That was a good year. You know, it's funny because I don't know why they didn't mention this. I thought, you know, maybe, I don't know. I don't know why they didn't do this, but if you pre-order Halo Wars 2, I don't know if there's like a special edition or a collector's edition or a limited edition, or like a day 1 edition, but they said if you pre-order it comes with Halo Wars Definitive Edition, which is a remaster of the first game. And the first game had some DLC, but for the multiplayer. Now what I want to know if it's going to bring back the multiplayer, because the multiplayer I heard was really good. I'm definitely, when I get an Xbox One, I'm definitely going to get Halo Wars 2. I don't know if you guys agree with me, but it looks a little sloppy. I'm not gonna lie. It doesn't look as controlled as the first game. It looks... you can tell that it's definitely not the same developer. And I know that this developer, I think it's like the Total War Games, these guys. They're like from Sega, Creative Assembly. And I heard that they make good games, but I don't know. It just doesn't, when I saw the gameplay, I was like, oh, that's cool, they're doing Halo Wars. But because it's coming to PC first, my concern is that I'm like, okay, so does that mean that it's gonna be the control scheme is gonna be catered to the PC, and then the console version is gonna be an afterthought? But I'll still play it. I don't know. After that, we have another thing. You remember Phantom Dust? Apparently, even though they canceled on the low, right, secretly canceled the new Phantom Dust RPG that they're releasing, they're remastering the first game, and it's coming out, I think it's next year, 2017. Maybe they're going to be bringing Phantom Dust, the sequel, later on? I don't know. I think they're doing the same thing that they're doing with, I think they're pulling a Crackdown 3 with that game on the low. Then they showed the Gwent card game. I have The Witcher. Haven't played it yet. I heard that the Gwent card game was pretty addictive. Not gonna lie to you, I've never been a card game player. The only card game that I've ever played like a beast was Yu-Gi-Oh! Okay, me and my brother, we used to go to Conway, and we used to steal people's skull. Okay, it's not stealing when you win legally, right? I used to own people. All right. Well, I got owned more than I actually owned people. But you know, the 2 wins I got was good enough for me. My brother, though, on the other hand, was a monster in that game. And Euphoria. Showed The Division, whatever. Not interested. State of Decay 2, not interested. Oh, Tekken 7, oh my god, yo. That story mode. It's putting Street Fighter 5 story mode to shame. And I like Street Fighter 5, but I still feel like I own the beta. I feel like I don't have a final game. I feel like it's just the beta and I paid $60 for it. You know? I still refuse to pay for characters at this point. I'll probably get them on Season Pass on a sale or something, but I don't think Capcom ever does Season Pass sales for any of their games. Then they showed Crackdown 3 that is coming out next year. I think Crackdown 3 is not coming out until the end of next year. Then they showed Killer Instinct. They showed General Ram from Gears of War 1, which I don't know why they would bring him in there since he was kind of a chump. Then they showed the custom controllers, which was pretty cool if you ask me. More options, right? Then, you know, there was a big focus on advertising that you download a game digitally on Xbox One and you get to play it on Windows 10 PCs, whether it's, you know, like one of those those Surface 3.0s, or you know, just you know, like this computer. My computer has Windows 10. I mean, burn me to a crisp, but I don't think it's as bad as some people say it is. How about that? And then finally, they show that the new Xbox One Project Scorpio is coming out holiday season of 2017. And that's when I said I was going to get the Slim, but I'm not going to get the Slim anymore. I'm just going to get the new Xbox because there are a couple games there that I really want to play. And knowing that they're going to be continuously working on the backwards compatibility, it gives me some hope that eventually they'll have the entire Xbox 360. At the very least, maybe more than half of the library, because there's some games there that will probably never come out because those studios simply just do not exist anymore. And I have a bunch of import games here that they're probably never going to be compatible. What I want to know, does the Japanese compatibility list differ than ours? I don't know. But I think Microsoft had a real good showing, man. That Xbox One, that new one, 4K gaming, even if it's in the same frame rate that we're used to seeing now, it goes to show, it still shows me that Microsoft is definitely attempting to take down the Sony. They're trying to take down the king right now, okay? Because Sony, they're in first place and they are running with it. They're not even trying, man. They're basically Thanos right now. And you know, Microsoft is Ant-Man. And they're trying to turn into Giant Man. So let's get right in. I'm already 20 minutes in. Sorry for this long video. We're going to get into Sony's. Let's try to wrap things up here. Because I feel like Sony didn't show as much as Microsoft, but they had some pretty strong stuff here. They went in there not playing around. And you know how they started the show off? with God of War 4. Holy crap. Look at Sonic's face. He's like this. Because he already knows. He was like... Now, this is the thing. One thing about God of War 4 that I was like, oh man, why did they do that? But I'm still down because it still looks amazing. First off, the problem that I had with God of War 1, 2, and 3 was that it felt like it was attempting to be like Devil May Cry. Now, I'm not saying that Devil May Cry was the originator of that genre, the hack and slash genre. I'm not saying that, but it did it better than God of War. Okay, I felt like the fluidity of the first Devil May Cry and the second Devil May Cry, I felt like it just had a feel that was just freaking awesome. Now, God of War 1 felt very sloppy. It was glitchy when I played it. Only had a couple bosses, like 3 bosses. Story sucked. It wasn't all that, alright? I actually thought that God of War 1 was overhyped. I was one of those haters back in the day, okay? And then God of War 2 came out, and that was during my transitional period to next gen. I don't think the PlayStation 3 was out yet, but I absolutely had a 360. And I was not looking back to using component cables 480p on God of War 2. So I decided to say, peace out. Now, I never beat God of War 2. I beat the first one. I beat the third one, which I thought 3 was pretty good. But, to me, I still felt like Bayonetta murdered that game. And I was like, okay, it's a solid game. And then Ascension, I beat that game, and it wasn't that great. It was okay. You know, I felt like Chains of Olympus was better. That's the PSP one. I never played Ghost of Sparta, though. So, when I look at the new God of War, I feel like the combat, from what I've seen, I don't know if you guys are going to agree with me here, but it kind of looks like it takes the camera angle from the Dark Souls games, the Demon Souls game, and Bloodborne. It's over the shoulder, behind the character's back. It's a fixed camera angle. You can even strafe left and right from what I've noticed. And the combos aren't like before. Like, it's a completely different style of game. Like it's like Lords of the Fallen, right? Like, it's not really... It almost feels like it's trying to go for that Last of Us feel. And I can see why they're doing that, because I don't think God of War needs to continue in that path of playing like Ascension or 3. Because as you saw with Ascension, which Ascension is still a good game, okay? The combat, I feel like Ascension had the best combat system, period. The multiplayer sucked, in my opinion. Some people enjoyed it, but I didn't. I thought it was pretty bad. It was very laggy every time I played. Collision detection was really bad. I hated the stages too. I just didn't like, everything was just gimmicky. But Ascension had a really good combat system, but I feel like it was still in the shadow of Bayonetta, Devil May Cry, you know, you guys play like Ninja Gaiden, stuff like that. And I feel like this shift to more of a Last of Us, Lords of the Fallen, the Souls games, Bloodborne, that is the perfect way to change or not reboot it, because it's not a reboot, but it looks like he's gonna pass the torch eventually, you know. And Kratos with that beard, oh my god. And you know what? I didn't like when God of War 1 came out, right? I really felt like during that era of gaming, they weren't really... I know a lot of people don't like using this term to describe a game, but that cinematic feel that you have when you're playing a game wasn't really there. It was still gameplay first, story second, unless it's an RPG. But you were never going to get a game the same quality as, say, Last of Us or Uncharted, you know. Now, there are those few exceptions like Shadow of the Colossus or, say, Resident Evil. Those are those few exceptions. Metal Gear Solid. But I'm talking about that gritty feel, like Last of Us, that artistic feel, that cinematic, like a movie, you know, like the scope that it has, the the vision that the creators have. You know, I don't know if you guys get what I mean. I'm pretty bad at wording things together, piecing them together, stringing them together. But I feel like this shift was good. Even if it means that the combos aren't going to be as great or beastly. But it was pretty good. But, like I stated, like, Kratos' voice suited the PS2. And then when God of War 3 and God of War Ascension came out, and he's opening his mouth and speaking, this guy from, what's his name? From Living Single? Is it? I forgot the name of that show. It's from the 90s. It's not Living Color, because Living Color is the skit comedy one. I think it's Living Single. Whatever. You know what I'm talking about if you God of War fans. You know, I feel like they needed to change his voice. And I think it's the same voice actor. But now, I hear him speak and I go, finally, you graduated voice acting school, man, because now it feels realistic. Now, I spoke a lot about God of War. Let's move on. Last Guardian. Guys, I'm sorry that I'm digging up my nose. It's not that I have boogers. It's that it's freaking itchy, man. So, The Last Guardian was shown. Now, I'm not going to say I'm hyped for it because I didn't beat Ico or Eco, however it's pronounced. And I didn't even beat Shadow Colossus. I beat the first Colossus with Euphoria's help because I couldn't even beat him. And I said, I'll play tomorrow because I bought the HD collection on PS3. Never went back to it. I even sold it, actually. Days Gone, which is from the Siphon Filter guys. Now, I don't know if the Siphon Filter guys that they're talking about are the guys that did the first game, the multiplayer game, or the PSP games. I don't know. All I know is that this game looks pretty good. But, I don't know, Days Gone, is that Jon Snow? Because it looks like him. Anyway, it looks pretty good. But I'm gonna hold off because it looks, I don't know, when he was shooting those crowds of zombies, it looked a little weird. You know, it's like a zombie apocalypse game, and it kind of looks more like World War Z, where the zombies are always moving in hordes, and they're working together to climb things. The graphics are pretty good, though. But I'll wait for Last of Us 2. So then they showed the incredible Horizon Zero Dawn. You know, I'm starting to kind of feel sorry for Lara Croft because it ain't looking good for her. Because Sony is looking to kill her existence. Because I didn't like the reboot at all. I told Angel Nexus that I felt like the story was a piece of garbage. I hated the whole... I don't know how people say, oh, you know, I didn't like how she was crying one moment, she was about to get raped, and then she became a assassin. You know, a well-trained beast. You know, the next. That didn't bother me. What bothered me was the actual story. Like, they show like these camera, YouTube-like videos, selfie videos, and it was horrible, okay? I did not like it. Alright, the gameplay was pretty good, but it was just, oh man, I did not like the story. And it was kind of easy, the game. Maybe I should have put it on the harder difficulty. You know, but then there's, and then there's Horizon Zero Dawn, a game that looks very much like the Tomb Raider reboot. And you know what's funny? Because a lot of these games that they've shown, even on Xbox conference and the PlayStation one, they have this huge scope where it's not technically an open world, but it's like a huge field that you can just do anything in, and it's like a playground. It has that Halo 1 feel, which is pretty cool. Horizon Zero Dawn is definitely getting bought day one, especially since it's looking amazing, alright? Then they showed this other game. Look, I was not the biggest fan of Quantic Dreams. I liked Heavy Rain. I thought it was okay. It wasn't the greatest game ever. I would never play it again. But I thought it was a solid attempt at this choose-your-own-adventure for the modern era, without really being as, you know, like I say the Walking Dead games are, right? Like the Walking Dead games, those choose your own adventures. They are modern takes on it. They're more stories that have some branching paths. But Detroit Become Human looks freaking bananas, man. You're like this freaking android guy, And I wish you could name him, because I'm naming him Android 17, but I'm pretty sure he already has a name. And it really is a choose your own adventure. And I think that game that came out, the one that is like a horror game, came out last holiday season. And it was like, it wasn't Quantic Dream, but it very much played like one. If that game can do that, I'm pretty, with the branching paths and having all these different alternate endings and who lives, who dies, and making it actually count, I'm pretty sure Detroit Become Human is gonna be even more beastly, because Heavy Rain was pretty linear. I'm not gonna lie about that. I'm not gonna say that all the endings were pretty different. It was the major plot points are still the same for the most part. And this is where, at first, I was like, is this PT? This can't be PT. This cannot be Silent Hills. They showed this first-person game. It looked beautiful. I was all in. I said, Outlast 2? Nah, it can't be Outlast 2. And then, he picked up this item. Right? There was a part in the video, if I'm not mistaken, he picked up an item, and that drone was 2D, bro. And I went like, no, it can't be Resident Evil. And it was Resident Evil. Look, Capcom, I'm all for you bringing the survival horror back into Resident Evil. I'm okay with that, okay? I have no problem with that. What I have a problem with is when you start changing stuff, bro. It's a first-person game. That's not Resident Evil. Come on. Like, I'm sorry, but who is this guy that you're using? Who's this chump, this wuss? I'm sorry, but none of the Resident Evil characters were wusses from day one. Resident Evil 1, Chris and Jill were ready to kick some zombie butt. Leon and freaking Claire, they're ready to kick some butt. Resident Evil 3, Jill and Carlos, ready to kick some butt. Resident Evil 4, Leon is ready, and you know what? He's packing some more freaking action this time. Some more butt kicking, alright? That's what he's doing. Resident Evil Code Veronica, Claire. They didn't really start introducing new characters until 5, to be fair. Sheva and Chris. This guy was bench pressing cars and trucks, alright? Sheva bench pressing cars and trucks with her butt. She had a nice booty. And then we have Resident Evil 6. We had Helen, Leon, Jake, Sherry, Ada, Chris, and freaking, what's his name? Taylor Lautner. Alright? Like, they all kick butt. And that's the thing about Resident Evil, okay? Resident Evil, I'm sorry, part 1 was kind of scary, but it wasn't that scary, okay? I hate when people say, it's so scary, it scared me. It wasn't that scary, okay? I was a freaking little kid. I jumped a few times, but I never said, I can't play this anymore. You know what game made me think that? Outlast. Outlast made me go, I can't play this anymore. I couldn't play it anymore after a while, man. I beat it, but it made me dookie bricks. I took a bunch of dookies of bricks, bro. What else made me do that? Evil Within? It was scarier than Resident Evil. Resident Evil 4, none of them made me go, oh my god, what do I do? None of them. And, you know, my concern is if they're going only for horror, it's not going to have replayability. Resident Evil always had replayability. And this one doesn't seem like it's going to have it. And I just feel like Outlast, for instance, I can't replay Outlast. You beat it once and that's it. This game looks like it's going to have the same problem. Now, the demo, they said, is going to be available. As of this recording, I checked the PlayStation Store and it was not there at all, okay? So I'm going to check it out and I'll tell you an update on it. But so far, I have no faith in this game. I'm very concerned. Especially this VR crap, alright? Which, we're going to get right into it right now. They have some PlayStation VR sci-fi shooter that looked like that garbage game, The Conduit. Daragon's favorite game on the Wii. And then Batman Arkham VR, yeah, you could kick rocks because you're definitely not getting my money, bro. X-Wing VR mission, lazy bastards at EA. Come on, you can't call it anything else. You gotta call it Star Wars Battlefront X-Wing VR mission. You gotta call it missions. You couldn't put a plural after that? Mission? Come on. What else? The Crash Bandicoot trilogy. It's coming to PlayStation 4 remastered. Give me that Crash 2. Oh man, I can't wait to play those, man. I wonder if it's a pack if you buy them separately. Even if it's $15 a pop, take my money. Which is kind of sad because that means we're never going to get a sequel because he's in Skylanders 2. Then after that, they showed, oh man, Final Fantasy 15. More red flags came up. You see Elmo, he was like, oh no, Elmo's world. That's what he said. That was a horrible imitation, by the way. Final Fantasy 15, the VR experience. Did you guys honestly think that that looked good? That looked really bad. Now don't get me wrong, I don't want you guys thinking I'm bashing Sony because I still think they had a good show. Great even. Alright? In fact, if Microsoft would have done some VR stuff, I would have cut their throats too. Okay, because this VR nonsense is like turning on the 3DS, 3D, and putting it in your face. That's what it looks like to me. I tried VR, bro. It ain't convinced me. Okay. You guys are gonna unsubscribe after I say this. Whoever subscribed to me, you're gonna unsubscribe, and whoever's not subscribed ain't subscribing after what I say. Call of Duty Infinite Warfare. Is it just me, or does the campaign look amazing? Now, I'm pretty sure the multiplayer is going to be the same thing. But that campaign? Why do they always take my money? I got Black Ops 3, Advanced Warfare. I skipped Ghost. I knew better than that. Black Ops 2, Black Ops 1, Modern Warfare. I bought them all. I bought them all, bro. What's my problem? I have Black Ops 3 and I barely played it. Man. Advanced Warfare was pretty good, the story. Multiplayer was pure garbage, but the story was pretty good. That's what I really play it for, really. Lego Star Wars Episode 7. I mean, I'm pretty sure eventually they're gonna come out with like a triple pack like they did Star Wars, the complete saga or complete collection. You remember that for the 360 and PS3? The definitive way of playing those games? Probably not though, right? Then they showed Hideo Kojima and Norman Reedus. Oh my god, yo, man. The Boondock Saint, man. He ain't playing around. He came back with this game called Death Stranding. Yo, that game looks bananas, bro. They got dead babies in the trailer. I'm like, I thought he was climbing him. I thought the baby was crawling up him after a while. And then this is the part that the last thing I want to talk about. Two things actually. They showed the new Spider-Man game on PlayStation 4. What costume was that? I want to know, because I'm not familiar with the comics like that. I only watch the movies and the cartoons. But you know what's funny? I'm looking at the trailer, I'm like, this looks incredible. And I'm thinking that it's Sucker Punch that did the game. Because Sucker Punch, they do some pretty good superhero games. I liked Infamous 1. I hated 2. It was still a good game though. I just personally did not like the game. And I thought that Second Son was okay. It wasn't the greatest. It was better than a lot of games now, but it felt like X-Men more than anything else. The temporary powers, and it was alright. If anything, First Light was better. I beat that too. That was pretty good. And then I thought it was Sucker Punch. And I don't know why. I guess I have problems reading because I thought it read Sucker Punch. But then I see that it reads Insomniac Games. And I said, okay, now I'm a little... First off, right? Me thinking that it's Sucker Punch, my expectations are here. Once I read Insomniac, I went, ooh. I was like, ah, man. These guys, man. It's a good developer, but they have some issues, but I'm not going to talk about it. And that's really it. They didn't really show the PlayStation Neo because, like Angel Nexus said, they probably saw Microsoft tweeting about it. All these leaks, they were like, we gotta get in there too, man. And that was really it. What did you guys think of the two conferences? I personally don't have a particular favorite between the two. I feel like they were pretty even. If anything, the best thing, in my opinion, that Microsoft had in their conference was Scalebound, Recore, Gears 4, and the reveal of the new Xbox One. Those 4 things. PlayStation 4, Horizon Zero Dawn, Detroit Become Human, God of War 4, and Call of Duty. Those are the best things in my... I know, Call of Duty, bro. Death Stranding, I would say that I'm impressed by that, but there was no gameplay, so I can't really say that I was impressed. I'm looking forward to seeing more, though. But yeah, that's really it, guys. I hope you enjoyed the video. Sorry for being so long, but I just really want to talk to you a little bit in depth about it. I'm pretty sure Nintendo's not doing one. Square Enix, I'm gonna check that out. There's another one though. There's another conference that I'm missing. Ubisoft had theirs. EA had theirs. I think that's it, right? Bethesda had theirs, which... But, later, guys. I know, Sonic. I tried to go faster, but I couldn't, bro. Yo, you saw that?